And what's your personal goal as far as stat-wise?
Ultimately, win a state championship. That's my team goal and my personal goal. I feel like this core group, this group of seniors, we've been together our whole lives. I feel like this is the group to do it. I really do.
This group seems to be just as close, if not closer, than last year's team. And with Bobby Madley, Lane Carroll, and Preston Schaefer and all that group, they were a pretty close-knit bunch that you guys got along really well with. But it seems like the team has just kind of moved on. You know, you're not really fretting after losing. And for you lost two of your best wide receivers from last year.
Yeah, I feel like I have the most confidence in my guys out wide, Colton, AD, Michael Bradley, Hunter Wright, Torian Bazell, all of them. We put a bunch of work in over the summer, a bunch of routes, and definitely my guys up front, have confidence in them too. Couldn't do it without them. So, yeah, I just put all my trust in all the guys around me. I have the best in Southwest Virginia, I feel like.
You do have plenty of weapons for yourself out in the wide receiver core now. And as it comes to this game, you go back to last year, the Tennessee High, Virginia High game there at home, only down by 7 going into the fourth quarter. What are some takeaways from the last game for you at quarterback that you can bring over from last year that you learned to add to this game?
Definitely score more points. I feel like we're probably in the red zone 4 times that game and didn't punch it in, so I feel like this year we definitely need to emphasize on getting the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, a couple of tough stops really in that ball game. Only trailed by 7 going into the fourth. They ended up scoring another touchdown and won at 34-20. So how much did that game linger? As you know, with that game being the rivalry game that everyone thinks of, but you know, you get later on into the year, you get Richlands. We got a close call with those guys, and of course Marion. After we beat them, you know, we had to end up hosting them in the playoff game for the first time since '02. So, what game do you really have circled that whenever you were working out this summer, that you were like, well, we got to get those guys this year?
I definitely look at the Marions, the Richlands, Abingdon battles, but me and the senior boys, we've had this one circled since we came into high school. This is a must-win.
You want them all, too, right? You don't just want to pick one of those. And this game, in general, when you grew up, what was it like being a part of this VT game?
Well, let's see. From the age of 6, I was a water and ball boy, so I've been a part of it ever since. I've been here before Coach Chris, so being a part of the VT game is unreal. I mean, you look around and see everybody you know from both sides of town. Probably, I'd say close to 5,000 people there.
What's it like playing in front? You know, you go from we play in front of a pretty good crowd at home, but what's it like in the VT game? I mean, that's the main ticket usually every year. What's it like playing in that game with that kind of crowd noise as quarterback?
Being a quarterback, especially over there, it's tough. Crowd's pretty loud. They're always going to be rooting against us. They don't really like us guys, but we don't really like them either. But, it's pretty good atmosphere.
Hey, it's a rivalry game. You got to say stuff like that, right? So you're under a first-year offensive coordinator, Coach Belcher. And then the offense came out clicking in the game against Tazewell there in week 1. And, of course, we scored when we needed to last week, did enough to beat John Battle. But what has been sort of the preaching point for Coach Belcher since he's taken over? Has things really changed?
Nothing in our offense really changed. Coach Belcher's, he's coached offensive line, receivers, running backs ever since he's been here. So, I have more trust in him than anybody I've ever met calling the offense. He's as detailed as any coach I've ever been with. He definitely he stresses over little things because little things create big things. So, I have more trust in him than anybody I've ever been with.
So, it's nice to have somebody that you were familiar with after the move from Coach Ambergy when he went to Abingdon. So, Jamie, when it comes to your senior season, you don't want it to end, of course, but I asked Aaron Rose this whenever we had an interview with him. What do you want to be remembered as whenever people say, well, I saw the Lathrop kid play quarterback for Virginia High? What do you want them to say at the end of the night whenever the game's done?
I just want them to know that every play I'm out there, I give 100%, and I play for the guys beside me. But I just want to be remembered as a good teammate.
So as far as this wide receiver core, you have goofballs in that core. Who's the funniest wide receiver that you have to throw the ball to? That's always
It's not even close. Colt Rapp.
does it all.
I'm not even looking at him right now, and I'm laughing.
So Colton, last year he was doing all these blocked punts and everything the first few weeks, and we still haven't seen a blocked punt yet. What's up with that?
They're targeting my man.
They've watched the film on him, right?
Everywhere he goes, they go.
He's acting like he's not listening to us right now. But
they put 4 guys wherever he goes.
They do. It takes an army to block him. Well, Jamie, thank you for coming by and talking to us.
Appreciate it.
Hopefully we get to talk to you some more as the year goes on. Good luck against Tennessee High. Let's take a commercial break. Be right back. Dante Harris joining us when we get back here on Bearcat Radio Network.
Listen to Virginia High School football on your community at Spreaker.com/Bearcat Radio. Bearcat Radio is brought to you by State Line Motors. Visit State Line Motors on Euclid Avenue in Bristol.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Dustin Lynch. You don't have to listen to country music to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you just can't control, like your girlfriend running out on you with your best friend. But there's some drama that you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you and start moving towards a brighter future and even your college degree.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Follow Bearcat Radio on Twitter with the handle @BHS Bearcat Radio and on Facebook by searching Bearcat Radio for the upcoming broadcast schedule and shows on the flagship screen of Virginia High School Athletics.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Bearcat Radio is brought to you by State Line Motors. Visit State Line Motors on Euclid Avenue in Bristol.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you to keep bacteria in food from making you ill with 4 simple steps.
This will be a walk in the park.
Clean. Wash hands and surfaces often.
I'm waiting for the ring cycle.
Separate. Keep raw meats away from ready-to-eat foods. Cook. Make sure meat, poultry, and seafood is cooked to the right temperature.
Fire in the hole!
And chill. Refrigerate food promptly. Check your...
All right, welcome back to Bearcat Sports Chat. We're now joined by senior offensive and defensive lineman Dante Harris. Dante, you got a little crowd here in front of you, but thank you for joining us here on Bearcat Sports Chat.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to get to talk to you. You know, we read about you in the paper. You were quite popular there for about a 3-week span in the Bristol Herald-Courier.
Yes, sir.
And you made it on Coach Chris' Twitter account over the summer, so that's always pretty big because he doesn't post all that much. So for throwing around all that weight, and we'll get to that here in a moment. Offensive and defensive linemen. All right, so where was your original position?
Well, since sophomore year, I've started on the defensive line on varsity, and this year we were running low on offensive linemen, so I had to make a transition to do what's best for the team, and I actually really enjoy offensive guard, left guard.
So how did that come about as far as your progression as an offensive lineman? I'm sure as you went along you started to learn a little bit more about the position because basically your whole life you've been learning how to beat that guy across.
Yeah. Well, my defensive line position, that helped me a little bit too because I knew like how to be blocked, so I learned how to block. And I've also learned from left tackle Sean Watkins. He's probably one of our best offensive linemen. He's taught me a lot of stuff too.
And it helps to have a guy with leadership qualities that can sort of turn it around also in your grade, so it makes it a lot easier for you. And what's your favorite to play? I don't not ready to put you on the spot, but
definitely defensive line.
Because you can just
just slinging quarterbacks around. That's what I like to do.
Definitely the fun part. So in practice, you get after this guy with the Ferrum shirt, Jamie Lathrop, any?
Could you repeat that?
Do you get after Jamie any in practice? When they let you?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes he's over there talking smack, like, y'all ain't about to sack me, but little does he know I'll be sacking him. I just don't be touching him because Coach Chris doesn't let us touch him.
He's got the yellow jersey on, the protective.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the weight room. You know, we mentioned you throwing around weight in the off season. How much were you lifting? And tell us a little bit about that. I know Coach Chris mentioned 515 on, what was it?
Before summer workout started, our last max we did, benched 315 and squatted 515.
So you really put in the work during the off season, and you ended up being, what, the Iron Man?
Yeah, during the end of summer, we had a competition that consisted of a bunch of different skill-based or weightlifting-based competitions, and I won it.
How did it feel to win that with all these other guys as athletic as they are, to know that you came out on top?
I'm going to admit, it was a little more strongman-sided. I'm not going to lie about that.
It's called Iron Man.
Yeah, so it was good for me to compete. That was like, just to compete with all the skills on the last event, that made me feel good. And that's probably my biggest achievement, that like personal achievement I've achieved.
Well, that's huge, especially with the athletes that are on this team. What is that off season? How does that build to what you've been able to do so far, the 2-0 start, as far as coming together as a team, competing against each other in the Ironman competition? How does that build what you all are enjoying now and what you enjoyed last year? You know, a great season last year, 7-4, hosting your first playoff game since 2002. So how does what you do in the off season affect the team right now?
We compete with each other in the off season, just like we would compete against another team during the season. We're just working towards it, and that helps us when the season actually starts. Working against each other makes us better when the season starts.
And so when the season ended last year, a couple of days after that, when did you get back to work for
football
season?
Immediately. Got back to work, got back in the weight room.
What was your goal? What's your goals coming into this season for this team, and also personal? What is the personal goal?
State championship, personal and team goal. Got to get it.
So no number, sack number, anything. We're just whatever we can get.
Just whatever I can get on the way to the state championship.
All right, and then we talked about the VT game a lot with Coach Chris and a lot with Jamie, but what does the VT game mean to you, a rivalry that has sort of pitted these two Bristol teams?
The last time Virginia High won the VT game, I think I was in middle school, and I remember being at the game, and when the final buzzer sounded, I ran on the field like I was in the high school, so excited, and I just want that feeling again. So I've been working since freshman year to have that feeling again.
And I asked Jamie about this, but what did last year incite in you all that, you know, we can hang with a team that's 5A from the state of Tennessee that is probably 2 times our size? You're only down by 7 going into the fourth quarter. So how much of that is in your memory as you move into this game tomorrow?
It just means we can hang with them. We can hang with anybody. A 5A team way bigger than us. If we have the heart, we do have the heart, and we can hang with them.
So whenever you get set for tomorrow's game and Coach Chris tries to get you guys fired up, how much work will we have to put in to get you fired up, or will you already be pretty fired up?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready to go right now tonight. Let's get it.
Yeah, the weather's pretty good. We could just get them down here on the practice field.
Let's just get them right there on the field right there.
We go right now. All right, so let's talk about this defensive line group. You have some guys on there that have made some noise. Who's your favorite defensive lineman to sort of compare yourself with, and then we'll go from there?
Well, my best buddy, Sean, he's probably my favorite defensive lineman just because he's always been there for me or with me since, like, elementary school. We've always been tight. But Boogie also, that's my boy, Jay Boogie. John Malumba, working very hard.
He's been making plays.
Yeah, he's a sophomore, and he's starting on varsity. It's crazy, man. He didn't get to play last year, but he got back, and he's just working, and now he's starting and making plays for us.
What about linebacking core?
Oh, my linebacking core. Aaron Rose, Cooper Gubble, Jalen Dingus. Those are my boys. Those are my real boys. I love
those guys, you know. You just sort of eat up the blocks if you have to, and then let Aaron or somebody just come through a gap. And Aaron's pretty good guessing the gap because he is a running back. So it kind of helps to be two-way players in that aspect. Maybe not from the aspect of stamina, but the fact that you know what you're, like you said,